Welcome back, everybody, to another dicondissectional production, hosted by Deathstroke9.
And our special guest, Deathstroke8, is with me along for the ride. And today we're going to be reacting to Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young, Teach Your Children. Very well, please.
Hello, YouTube.
Welcome back.
Welcome back is right.
So, I like to think that you have taught me well. You've taught the children well.
I have multiple children. So this song would hold true to me. But I've heard this song.
You have? Okay. Well, I've never heard the song, and you guys told me that I should do it with that. So
they've played this song a lot on the radio. It's gotten a lot of radio play. I have no idea what he's saying, though. Like, I've never listened to the lyrics, really.
How do you listen to me? So you pay attention only to the music, then, mostly?
Mostly, but really, when I would hear music on the radio, a lot of times it was background. Unless it was something that I was really intrigued by, then I would want to look up the lyrics. Me and your mom didn't really have a computer up until about probably 7 or 8 years ago.
Sure.
So unless it was something, and I grew up in the 80s, and this music was before the 80s. My parents taught me about like 60s music. So I know a little bit about Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young. I just never really dug deep into the music or the lyrics of this band.
Well, I can tell you that what I've heard by them, I really like them. They do a phenomenal job. So
I like them too. They are a great band.
All right, so this song is a pretty short song, and according to this thing, it's Young is with them on this one. So I think that might be what it said last time when he wasn't with them. So if you guys want to let me know if it is or isn't, I mean, we'll probably look it up at the end.
Sure.
Anyway. All right, you ready?
I will be in about 30 seconds.
Okay, cool. Thank you guys for requesting this, by the way. It was a good idea. I was trying to think of the next one I should bring Dad back for. So someone was like, you should do Teach Your Children after I did Wooden Ships. And I was like, there we go. Let's do it.
I appreciate you inviting me back.
Oh, yeah. No problem.
To your channel. So let's get to the song, Danny.
3, 2, 1.
Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young, Teach Your Children. Very folky sound.
Yeah, folky. Yep. Americana.
I get it.
Say it again? Oh, okay.
You who are on the road must have a code that you can live by, and so become yourself, because the past is just a goodbye. Teach your children
drums coming in.
well. Their father's help did slowly go by.
Love their harmony.
So tranquil.
Them on your dreams, the one they picked, the one you know by. Don't you ever ask them why, if they told you you would cry. So just look at them and sigh, and know they love you.
That's good.
Go ahead and pause it.
All right, I don't want to pause it in the middle of a solo, so I'm going to bring it back for that. So far, great lyrics.
I just want to say that, like, a lot of times with music, it's on in the background. This music was meant to listen to with headphones on.
Oh, you think so?
This is remarkable.
Yeah.
I have heard the song, like I said, never with headphones like this. This is beautiful. Who even cares what he's saying? The music and his vocal, the vocals just draws you in.
I think they all do harmony together. That's what makes it. Yeah, they do a very, very good job.
But it's so soothing and it's calming and it just makes I don't even know really. We've read some of the lyrics. I don't know what he's saying, but I just feel at peace and at ease.
Yeah. Yep. I get that from a lot of their music.
I like it.
Yeah, wanna keep going?
Yeah.
Let's go.
They love you.
Turn it up.
And you are so
Good.
can't know the fears that your elders grew by, and so please help them with your youth. They seek the truth before they can die.
So wonderful.
Your parents well,
Well,
their children's hell
Oh God! Wow.
will slowly go by, and feed them on your dreams. The one they fix, the one you know by. Don't you ever ask them why. If they told you, you would cry. So just look at them and sigh, and know they love you.
wow.
Yeah. All right.
Wow.
So there were a lot of things in the lyrics that I thought were very, very interesting. But before we talk about the lyrics, let's just talk about how beautiful that song was.
So, over the last little while, I read a lot of your guys' comments. I don't post much. But one of the things that was intriguing to me was the word Americana. So I had to look up
Yeah.
Americana. And that embodies Americana, right? So as a dad,
Sure.
as an American dad, and I'm sure it's like that throughout the world, but the American dream, right? It's wanting my children to supersede what I've done. And that's the American dream, right?
Wouldn't that be the ability to better yourself, pretty much?
Absolutely.
Raise your station is the idea that we would hope.
As a dad,
Stand
I
for.
just want you to make it a little bit further than I did, right? I would
Right.
want you to make it to the moon and back. But my ultimate goal for my children is to make it to the next level, right? Just a little bit further. So, Americana, this is the embodiment of Americana. And we're going to go through the lyrics a little bit, but from what I'm hearing, it's what you want as a parent. So, let's go through some of these lyrics.
All right, let's start at the top. So he says, "You who are on the road must have a code that you can live by." Right from that, I think of you instill a code of a moral code of conduct in me, right? Or stuff like, the Bible or the Ten Commandments or different things. Mom and you put your, beliefs in me, right? And I think that having a code of conduct or knowing the difference between what to you is right and wrong is very impactful to having both peace of mind and also having like a foundation that you're going forward with, right?
And that is exactly correct. But you who are on the road, who isn't on the road? So the first line in this song is to anybody and everybody, right?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah,
So
you who are
as
on the
long
road.
as you're listening to this song, and songs have lots of different meanings, but the first line is you who are on the road.
So he's saying, everybody listen up.
Everybody listen. You must have a code. So to me, that's a code of conduct, right?
Yep.
A code of honor. So
A standard to hold yourself to.
to hold myself to, and we've talked about self-regret, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So my code of conduct or my code of honor, I have to be able to sleep with myself at night.
Yeah.
So this right here, the first verse that I could live by. So you who are on the road must have a code that you could live by. That's engulfing everybody. We all have different standards, but we all have a code.
We do have a standard.
That's right.
Yeah. It's
And
important.
so become yourself, because the past
Let's go down, yeah.
is just a goodbye.
All right, so in that line, he's saying, you are all you've got. The past is going.
That's
It's
right.
going to be gone, and it's going to pass away. So live while you can by the code that you hold yourself to.
Yes. Wow.
Such a universal
100%.
that.
And one of the things about Americana, we think in our country, we're in America, we know that we have lots of different viewers from other areas of the world, or you do, right?
Sure, yeah. No, the majority is.
We kind of put ourselves in the box of America, right?
Do we?
At least I do. To me, because I've never experienced other places,
That's true.
it's hard for me to form an opinion on something that I've never experienced. Sometimes I do, but to me, it's hard to understand what life would be like, say, in Finland or Sweden or in Cuba or in different areas of the world.
Sure. The political all the landscape and how things were done would be differently. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah. I think that this is more than like you've said the American dream and stuff like that. I think it's like you said right at the beginning, it encompasses everybody.
It absolutely does.
It goes to everybody. So then he says, teach your children's well. Your father's hell did slowly go by, and feed them on your dreams. The one they picked, the one you'll know by. So, teach your children well. Your father's hell did slowly go by.
That would so
he's saying, you go first.
In this situation, I want to teach you the struggles. So the father's hell did slowly go by, whether it's financial struggles, relationship struggles, job struggles. It's very drawn out. When I look back, it's over. I started working when I was 14. I started being in relationships when I was a young man. So all these different situations, the father's hell did go by slowly. It's throughout the lifetime, right? So, and you're trying to overcome them, but it is in the past. He said in the beginning. Go ahead.
So, that's interesting because interesting. So, when he says teach your children well, it sounds like he's talking to the parent. And he says your father's hell did slowly go by. So I would think that would mean the parent's father, almost. That's what I heard when I was first hearing it. So he's saying your father's hell did slowly go by. So make your father proud by teaching your children well and carrying on the legacy, or your mother or whoever
and I see
raised you.
When I see teach your children well, your father's hell, I look at it, the children, and the flip side of that is the father. So if I'm to teach my children, which would be you, the flip side of you being my child would be me being your father.
Sure, yeah, I think that it works. Okay. Yeah, definitely works both.
So feed them on your dreams.
So that would be your dreams.
My dreams, the ones they picked.
So it's like, it's a give and take almost. That's so, wow.
So the ones you'll know by, like, to me, that means we've talked about putting my expectations in you, and you say that's an unfair responsibility for you to carry.
Sometimes, yeah.
But there are going to be expectations that I put in you or I instill in you that you're going to hold yourself to. Yep. So then I'm going to look, the ones you'll know by, that means I'm going to look back and say, you know what? Those traits and tendencies, that's what I've taught him over the last 17 years.
Yeah.
That's who's put him on his place. So one of my coworkers who's a little bit older than me, and his kids are younger than me, we had this conversation, and he's into his 50s, and he said, you know, when your kids reach a certain age, think of them like the Titanic. And I don't mean that they're going to sink, but they're a big ship. And all you could do as a parent is nudge them in a different direction. Your ultimate destination is your ultimate destination. But as a parent, once you reach a certain age, I could just help steer you
Out of the
maybe a
iceberg.
little bit away from the
the
iceberg,
iceberg, yeah.
whether it's left or right. But ultimately, you're going to be on that path. So the one they picked, to me, of my dreams, that's going to be the one to steer you a little bit one way or another. Not that you're headed towards destruction, but look at it as maybe the Titanic was a successful voyage, right?
They said the ship God couldn't sink.
So I'm looking at you as a successful voyage. So like a rocket ship to the moon, maybe I'm one of my dreams, or my dreams that I've put in you, are going to steer you a little bit to the left or to the right to help you get on that trajectory so you could land on the moon.
All right.
So that's what I take by this, if that makes sense.
Most of it does, yeah. All right, let's keep going. Post-chorus. Now this is interesting, okay? And I just thought of something in this. And so, don't you ever ask them why? If they told you, you would cry. Okay, so right there it sounds like the parent putting the beliefs in the child, or in the kid, the kid, and them talking to the kid. Don't ask them why. You don't need that burden on you. If they told you, you would cry. So just look at them, and I think the sigh is like so just look at them and let them know that you appreciate them, or validate them, or like heave a sigh for them almost. And just know that they love you.
So when I see that, and this is silly, right?
What?
We've watched an episode of Everybody Loves Raymond.
Oh, okay.
And we talked about the sneeze, right?
Yes.
So the sigh,
relief.
to me, the sigh is like if I have a built-up frustration or something is bothering me and I just sigh. Almost like a woo-saw, right? It just look at them and sigh, as opposed to causing aggravation or strife.
So just let it. So just.
That's right. Just breathe in and breathe out, right? And this way you're able to understand and comprehend, and maybe it's not the same things that I would have chosen, but that deep sigh helps me relax for a minute and know they love you.
That's almost like let go of any resentment you might have, kind of. That's what I'm getting out of that.
And I would agree with that. The resentment of them not you in this situation, right? If we could equate this to me and you not doing what I expected you to do, or you not fulfilling the expectations that I put in you. I just need to look at you, take a deep breath, and know that you love me.
Huh, okay. I've been equating it almost to myself, and you're equating it to you too. That's interesting. All right, let's keep going. Wow. All right. So this part, I'm not entirely sure how this is supposed to be taken in, because it goes back and forth. Oh. Is it like the parent and the child? So the parent would be, and you of tender years. Then the child, can you hear, do you care? Can't know the fears. Can you see that your elders grew by? We must be free. So please help. Teach your children, them with your youth, what you believe in. They seek the truth. Make a world before they die that we can live in. So it seems like by this is where it stops. So that your elders grew by, we must be free might be where it stops being a back and forth and then kind of becomes a cohesive part and coming together almost.
To me, the first thing that when I read that and I see it in parentheses, I'm thinking of Father and Son.
I thought of that too. Cat Stevens.
And you of tender years, that would be you. Can you hear and do you care? Very interesting.
Yeah, very powerful lyrics. They're so simple, and like you were saying, he's lulling. It reminds me of a little bit. I was thinking of like Paul Simon, just a little bit with the vocal stuff. It's interesting how soothing it was. And if you look deep at these lyrics, it's like, wow.
Wow. And one of the things, like Cat Stevens, I said when I heard that song, that was my first or second time hearing that song, it sounded like somebody just playing a song on the front porch.
Mm-hmm.
What a good way to have meaningful, expressive lyrics that can not necessarily cause strife, but just make you take it in such a peaceful way. Like, if you think of the conflict between a father and a son.
And they're conveying it
in such a calm way. That's right.
Yeah.
So that sigh, right?
It lets you take it in the first place and apply it almost.
And it's going to permeate or penetrate a part of your heart that is going to be more peaceful as opposed to be a conflictive.
Or an aggressive.
That's right.
Yeah.
So that is a wonderful way to construct music. And
especially on this topic. Or on, like, family topics, you know?
That's right. What, like, how great is that these guys constructed this music that can just, if you really, so your channel is dicondissectional. I would have never, even if I skimmed through the lyrics on my own, if I heard this that came up on Pandora or something, it would have never, I would never have come to the realization on how good of a song this really is.
Yeah.
Like listening with the headphones, really hearing it penetrating me, then dissecting these lyrics.
Gives you a better appreciation of
100 how great this is.
Yep.
But what makes it also that much better, so we're sharing this music together, but we're having dialogue over this music. So if
personal dialogue.
That's right. Yep. So if I'm a dad or I'm just a kid and I'm listening to it and I have my own perception, how much better is it to have a conversation with my next generation?
Sure, yeah.
To have that both sides, and you of tender years, right over here. Can you hear and do you care over here, yep. Right? So we have both sides of the coin having this conversation over this wonderful music that was way better constructed than I would have ever given it credit for, than I would have before now.
Yeah. And it's interesting that getting the other perspective expands your view of the whole picture, almost. It's interesting.
And that's what would make this song so good. Mm-hmm. It's a 2-minute long song.
Yeah.
But here we are getting both perspectives. I'm learning a little bit from what you're thinking about in this song. You're learning a little bit of what I'm thinking about this song.
Sure.
But again, the song, certainly, it's such a soothing song. What a better way to start a great dialogue with my son, or my son with his dad.
Than a calm way of just... And I think that about all communication. Like, people try... So I see people on the internet, and I've seen people do it in real life too, where they try to... They disagree with someone on something, and they attack them over it. In an attempt, it almost seems like to argue, or not to argue, but they want to convince them otherwise. How are you ever going to get someone to look at, even not convince them, but to just look at something from your point of view, if you're going at it by attacking them, right? So my point being, you are very correct that a calm and loving approach to a conversation, as opposed to an argument or an angry or an aggressive or a frustrating, it's better for communication.
Absolutely. Yes. I agree with that 100%. And that conversation me and you could have. If YouTube wants to see it, we could have it together some other time. But
yeah, now we're going on for 25 minutes.
But that conversation, I think a lot of times, and I'm just going to scratch the surface.
Sure.
In today's society and the way that things are structured today, if we have a disagreement a fundamental disagreement about something, we instantly attack the person and not the problem, right?
Ooh, yes.
So with social media, the way that it is today, it doesn't matter what it is, we attack the person. And things got to change. It can't be like that.
I hate that so much. I didn't see it first in the internet. I saw it first in interactions with people, and I cannot stand when people do that. It's so destructive. It's so destructive, and now I'm on here and seeing people do it constantly. Why can't we ever talk about, like, you don't know what influence another person have to bring them to a certain conclusion? Talk about the problem, not the person, as what you were saying. Anyway,
I do believe that there's a saying that is, we could agree to disagree.
I agree. Yes.
I wish that we could go back to that and still love each other, and not love each other, me and you, we love each other, but outside of a father and a son. So, and
they've tried to, I think, in a lot of, like, right now, if you're talking about right now, I'm not going to say too much, but let me just say, I think that it's like the stakes are raised, which is why it's more difficult. You know, it's going to affect a lot of people, and it's more of a conflict. It's inciting conflict, the entire...
Sure.
Taking sides.
To bring it back to this song.
All right, yep.
Teach your children well, that your elders grew by, so please help them. Help them with the youth. Help them seek the truth before they can die. I hope that I've instilled in you, it doesn't have to be the way that you see it on social media and on the internet and maybe on a debate that we might watch tonight. That is not, I know that those aren't the morals that me and your mom have instilled in you.
No, they're not.
That you can still, just because you disagree with somebody's religious belief, political belief, whatever it might be,
sure,
you could still love on that person.
I think that's our job as human beings on this planet.
So, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young.
Was there any more? Was there one last? It changes. Teach your parents well. It switches. So it says the same. It says pretty much the same thing, but it switches over to the other side and flips it. And what a way to bring the song full circle.
Sure.
Right at the end. So it basically repeats the same thing, but it says, teach your parents well, the children's hell. Okay? Something that you were saying a while ago about when you were talking about the father's hell, you were saying it's so slow when it's happening. And this is kind of a question, but so when you look back on it, is it slow? Or do you see what stands out to you when you look back on it? All the hell? Or
no, not at all.
The moments that were not hell?
That is so deep that I can't just scratch the surface, but
okay.
Time, especially now, feels like it's moving more rapidly. As I've gotten older, it feels like time is moving more rapidly. The hell in my hell would be if I go up to the top and it says I must have a code that I could live by. The hell that I experience is from not living up to my expectations of what that code was. Does that make sense?
It does, but
so, a lot of the other stuff, it has a way of working itself out. Whether it's financially, whether it's that other stuff, it always does. Whether I was unemployed and I had my kids and I still found a way to make sure that we had a roof over our head, while when you're going through those times, it's quite frustrating. But when I look back, and one of the remarkable things about the human mind and the human heart, a lot of times when we look back on things, we totally, the negative more times than not is void. We look back on the happy things, right? Yep. The happy relationships, even in a toxic relationship, we will still look back after it's over on the goodness. For some reason, more times than not, that's what stays with us. Well, our mind is so strong that a lot of times we block out a lot of the negative things that we had to endure.
I think so.
Yes.
That's interesting.
That's my opinion.
Yeah. It's interesting.
So teach your parents well, the children's hell will slowly go by.
So it just says the same thing, pretty much. Yeah. What an incredible song.
So wait, just really quick. So now do you think this is the teach your parents well, the children's hell will slowly go by, and feed them on your dreams, the ones they pick, the ones you'll know by. Don't ever ask them why. If they told you, you would cry, so just look at them and sigh and know they loved you. So in the beginning, it was the parent to the child. Now it's the child. So over the course of time, now it's you looking on at me, right?
Yep. God. Okay. What an incredible song. Great job, CSN&Y. Okay.
And I know we're going to wrap this up. It's very emotional. This right here, this song, in a positive way, it invokes feelings that right now, we're in the Eastern Standard Time. It's after 9 o'clock. There's a presidential debate going on. I'm so wrapped up in other things that mean absolutely nothing. And here I am wanting to cry and emotionally tied to this song and tied to this conversation with my son, which supersedes anything that's really going on that's so superficial. It's wonderful. This is one, I appreciate you giving me this 35 minutes of time to react to this with you, to have some dialogue, for me to express myself to you, and for you to express yourself to me.
Thank you.
I appreciate that.
Thank you for joining me. All right. And thank you guys for watching, if you are still watching. We appreciate you too. And love you, Dad. Thank you very much for joining me.
Of course.
It's
YouTube,
it's fun doing this.
Really quick. So Daniel had a little unboxing video just a little while ago, and me and my wife were in here, and we are just so grateful and thankful for all of Daniel's supporters. He works very hard at what he does. I just want to thank you. Because of this, I just had a wonderful 40-minute conversation with my son. That probably we would have had some other conversations that were positive, but right now, this was wonderful.
This was
over
important.
A song that we're going to share on YouTube. This is what it's about.
Yes, it is.
Having conversations like this is what it's about.
Having this expansion almost of everything, pretty much. So that's what the music's about, guys.
And the point of that being is that you unboxed a lot of stuff. I went to the post office today. I couldn't believe all the stuff I picked up.
Neither could I.
You guys out there, you encouraged us to do this. And I know some about music. You guys know way more about music than I would ever be able to scratch the surface of. So keep on commenting. Keep on suggesting things. Whether me and Daniel do it in front of a camera, which we're comfortable doing, or we do it on our own, some of this stuff, I'm going to look back later on in life and be so grateful that I got the opportunity to do this with you.
I think I will too.
You're a good kid.
Alrighty. Thank you guys very much for joining us. Those Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young, Teach Your Children Well.
Great song.
Teach your children.
Much better than I would have ever imagined it being. So, good job.
All right. Love you, Dad.
Love you too, son.
Deathstroke 9 and 8.
Deathstroke 8.
Out.
Peace and love.
Yes.
Peace and love.